Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thanks for joining us for the next event in our THE Student Funding Week series. I'm Jamie with THE Student, and we are joined today by Vivi Friedgut, founder and CEO of Black Bullion. Vivi spent 10 years managing the wealth of high net worth individuals and founded Black Bullion, the financial well-being company for students, to help empower young people to take control of their finances. She holds an economics degree from the University of New South Wales in her native Sydney, Australia. And she's here today to impart her wisdom to all of you on the topic of creating and sticking to a budget. To the students who are in the audience, please do feel free to drop your questions for Vivi into the Q&A, and we'll take some time to answer them at the end. Vivi, thanks for being here today. I'm going to hand it over to you, and I will be back shortly to help with the Q&A.
Fabulous. Thank you, Jamie. And yes, if ever there was a day I was missing Sydney weather, this would be it. But really great to be here with everybody. Thank you so much for coming along and for inviting me. At Jamie's request, we're going to be talking about budgeting, which I know feels like the most boring word in the world. But if you can get it sorted and you can get it right, then everything else gets easier. So clearly, I'm not a super formal presenter. So do throw the questions at me, because those are the things that I really enjoy. And we will kick off with this. So doing the typical COVID thing. Can everybody see my screen? Just somebody give me a thumbs up so that I know we're okay. Excellent. Thank you very much, Jamie. So welcome along, everybody. So as Jamie said, I'm the founder of Black Bullion. We're a financial well-being company specifically for students. So everything that we do is directed at soon-to-be and current students. So hopefully everything that we talk about over our time together is going to be really useful. Do throw in the questions, and because I get in trouble if I don't say it, please do follow us on Instagram if you're into that kind of thing. So there are really three things that we're gonna cover today outside of the questions that hopefully you will all have for me. We're gonna look at what is budgeting. It's one of those words everybody chucks around, but not everyone's super comfortable with. So what is a budget? How do you put one together? And then how do you stick to it? So just like anything, if you do it, but you don't stick to it, then it doesn't really matter. So going to try and give you some tips about how to do that. So just taking a little bit of a step backwards to give budgeting some context, because budgeting is really boring. I get it. Like, we all think the same thing. Budgeting is really about tracking the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. And the reason it's important is that when it comes to your money, and my guess is that everyone on this call is interested in money in some way, there are 4 different levers that you have to pull in your life. You've got the money that's coming in and the money that's going out, which is what makes up your budget, your income and expenditure, money coming in and money going out. And then you've got your net worth, which is what you own and what you owe. And that's where we talk about things like debts. And the reason that I like to have a big picture view is that actually what most people are interested in is having assets and having investments and owning property and being able to do kind of all of those more fun things. But at the basis of all of it is the budget. And that's why it's really important to think about a budget in terms of everything else that's happening in terms of your life. So this is what most people's financial life looks like. And it's actually pretty straightforward. Most people's financial life is made up of 4 different elements. As we said, it's the income, which is at the top there, which is money that comes in. It's the expenses, which is money that goes out. It's your assets, which are things like your emergency fund, your ISAs, your investments, the things that you own that help you to get rich, help you to get wealthy, help you to sleep well at night. And then the liabilities, which is your debts. Most people's financial life looks kind of like this. You earn money through income, through salaries, or through your student loan while you're studying. And the vast majority of that income is then spent. So the big fat arrow. So most of your money comes in and already goes out onto all of the things that you have to pay for life, because life is kind of expensive. So it pays for your rent, it pays for your food, it pays for your mobile bill, it pays for your coffee. Those are all of the expenses. So most people, most of their money, almost all of their money goes towards paying for stuff. Then they have a little bit that they use to pay off their debts, and then a teeny tiny amount that they use to build up their assets. And like it says in Monopoly, he with the most assets, she with the most assets, the person with the most assets wins, has the most amount of money going forward. And we can talk about the meaning of money if people want to get into that. What we are hoping to do is help people to do things a little bit differently so that your money works for you instead of working for John Lewis and Primark and Apple, so that your money makes money for you. And the way that we do that is by spending your money less on stuff and more on your future. Now, as a student, we know that most of your money gets spent, but if you have this in mind, then budgeting becomes a more powerful tool to help you get to where you want to get to. So that's context. So the budget component is how much money is coming in and how much money is going out. So when you're at university, your money is coming in from a few different places. So most people will get a student loan. Some people will have a part-time job. Some people might apply for scholarships and bursaries. And I would really encourage you to apply for all scholarships and bursaries and grants that might be out there for you. Scholarships and bursaries are not just for postgraduate students. A lot of people think it's just for postgrads. It's not. There are literally hundreds of millions of pounds worth of scholarships and bursaries out there. Make sure that you get all the money that you can, because scholarships and bursaries don't need to be paid back. So if you can get that, do. So you've got your part-time job or your casual job or your summer job. You've got a side hustle if you're into that. About 50% of young people want to start their own business, and a lot of people do it while they're on campus. So if you are doing some web design, or you're designing games, or you're doing babysitting, all of that is additional income that's coming in. So you have money that's coming in. You then have loads of money going out. Now, these numbers are taken from 2020 for average students. As you can see, there's a lot more money going out than money coming in terms of the different components of that money. Your biggest chunk of money on a monthly basis is your rent and your bills, which is almost £500 a month. Now, of course, if you are going to university or college in Aberystwyth, for example, chances are your rent will be a lot lower than if you're going to Edinburgh or to London. These are average numbers, which in a country like the UK doesn't always mean, that it's helpful, but to give you an idea of average. So your rent and your bills is the biggest chunk of your money that goes out, followed by your groceries and your food. And then, of course, there's clothes and there's transport once we're allowed to go back outside. There's, of course, your Deliveroos and your takeaways, your holidays. And all in all, this is the kind of numbers that you are talking about in terms of budget, in terms of money that is going out. So you have your money that's coming in, you then have your money that's going out. And this is what happens. This is where the budget is, it really comes into play. When your money is going out at the same rate as your money going in, you can see the dark purple. That little light purple where it says where you get into debt is when you're spending more money than you have money coming in. So if you look at that purple bit, the difference between the money coming in and the money going out, that's where you have to borrow. That's where debt comes into play. And debt is ultimately how you can end up in financial difficulty. Now, not all debt is bad, and a little bit of debt on campus is to be expected. But ideally, you would be spending the same amount of money as you have coming in. Ideally, those two squares would be the same size. The alternative to having too much money going out is to have less money going out than money coming in. And then the light purple on the right-hand side, that difference is money that isn't being spent that you can then use for other things. So you could use it to go on holiday, you can use it to start a business, you can use it to put a deposit on your accommodation for your next year of university. So the difference between the money coming in and the money going out is where you either run into debt problems or you have a little bit of spare cash. And that's really all budgeting is. That really is the whole story. So how do you look at the different sides of spending, right? You've got good spending, right? Which is the stuff that you need to keep you alive, which is super important. So food and accommodation and, water and bills and your mobile, the things that are important. or money that helps you to succeed. So you need textbooks, or you want to join clubs and societies, or you want to go to certain parties because you want to have a great student experience. These things are all really important. These are all good things to spend your money on because they give you the best possible experience at university. And ultimately, that's what's important. If you're going to uni, you want to do well, you want to have a good time, you want to meet a lot of people, you want to learn. A lot of time, those things just cost money. They just do, right? So this is the good kind of spending. The not so good kind of spending, as Will Smith has said, is when you're buying stuff that you don't need with money that you don't have in order to impress people that you don't really care about. So for different people, this will mean different things, of course. So for some people, this might be around sneakers, and for other people, this might be around takeaways or using Uber. Different people have different things that they spend money on that, given a choice, they wouldn't, but they do because their friends do, or because they're expected to, or because of impulse. So a lot of people will buy on ASOS, for example, at midnight because they're bored. Now, that's okay. We're not here to judge, none of us. But if you think about your money and you can only spend it once, what would you rather spend that money on? And if there's something you really want from ASOS, then that is absolutely your business, as long as you really thought about it, as opposed to just saying, oh, I'm a little bit bored, I'll buy blah. So when you're just buying because you're bored, or you feeling a little bit depressed, or you're missing your parents, or you're missing your friends, or you've just broken up with your partner, those are not necessarily the good times to spend. That's when you should try and avoid overspending and then getting into debt. That's where budgeting is really powerful. Okay, so quick ways that you can cut some of your spending, and I'm not going to read this, you can all read. Do a screenshot, you can have a look at it later. But the idea is to have a look at the things that you're spending money on that you might not actually want to spend your money on. So for example, let's say that you know that you want to go home for Christmas, and you know that you want to go home, and you know where home is. If you buy your train ticket 2 months in advance, you'll usually pay a lot more money than you will the day before. So sometimes being a little bit more organized with your spending will help you to reduce your spending. There are people, we've heard from students who signed up to the gym on campus in year 1, and when they graduate, they've only gone once or twice. Is that good use of your money? Probably not. How many subscriptions do you have to, all of the beauty boxes and the food boxes? How often are you getting Deliveroo? Are you getting an Uber instead of walking? These are all the kind of things where if you don't spend that money and you rather walk, provided that it's safe, obviously, then you could probably put that money towards better things. So cutting out some of that spending might enable you to have more money for the things that you really want, like the holiday, like the textbooks, like joining the clubs and societies. So one of the things that you can do to balance your budget is to cut down your spending. And like I said, screenshot it and have a look later. The other way to balance your budget is to have more money. So if you think about a pie, if you cut a slice out of that pie, right? The way to have more pie is to either cut out a smaller slice, so to spend less, or to have a bigger pie and to make more. And one of the ways that you can make more on campus is by having a second job, or by, having a side hustle, which, as I said, a lot of students are interested in. Now, what you don't want to do is be earning a little bit of extra income, but have it impacting on your studies, which is the main reason why you're on campus. So if you really need the money, then a job is a good idea, right? A part-time job, bringing in some extra money, is a good idea. If it is because of poor budgeting that you don't have enough money, if you are getting Deliveroo every night instead of cooking, then learning how to cook might be a better way to spend your time than getting a job and impacting on your studies. If it's going to overload your schedule, then a second job is not ideal if it can be avoided. We've heard of a lot of students who before COVID were stacking shelves at 2 and 3 in the morning, and as a consequence were missing their 10 a.m. and 9 a.m. classes. Don't sacrifice your ultimate objective, which is to have a great uni experience and to have a great and to come out of it with the best possible marks and the best experience, in order to make a little bit of extra money, especially if you can be doing better budgeting instead. And again, like, you'll have to make that determination for yourself. And if you want to be your own boss one day, if you do want to start a business, then actually university is the perfect time to do it. You get some experience, you've got a student loan to keep you going, and it could be the best possible time to try it, because there's a safety net which you don't have when you leave university in the same way. So again, screenshot it. We're not going to read it through, but there's loads of different ways of making a little bit of extra money on campus. Amazon is great. There's a lot of hobbies that people can get paid for. There's a lot of freelance jobs that people can get paid for. You are only as limited as your imagination, as lots of people will tell you. There are, of course, also seasonal jobs that happen during Christmas, during the summer period. Post-COVID, there's a lot of jobs in hospitality that disappeared during COVID that are now starting to come back. So there are ways of making extra money and of balancing out that budget by bringing in more, as long as it doesn't impact on your studies. And just to wrap up, and I can see that there's a bunch of questions, which is great. There are a lot of technology tools out there that can help you to do the heavy lifting. So we've made the Black Bullion, part of the Black Bullion platform, available to all of you. So if you go to blackbullion.com, there's a budget planner in there. There are also a lot of tools and apps, which you've probably heard of a lot of these already. I'm not going to recommend one over the other. They all do a great job depending on what you're looking for. But let technology do the heavy lifting. Unless you're a geek like me and you want to be sitting with a spreadsheet every single day, every single week, or every single month, or every single day, if you're a proper nerd, then let the technology do some of the heavy lifting and download one of the apps, and then it'll help you to do a lot of the work automatically, which is terrific. And then just to wrap, before we get into any questions, if you do run into any problems, if you are in any kind of debt that you're concerned about, if your mental health is suffering, if you are worried about anything to do with money, I'm here to tell you, you are not the only one. There is nothing that you're going through that somebody else hasn't gone through as well. And by someone else, I mean thousands of people. Money on campus is quite a stressful thing. Student Services is there to help you. We are there to help you. There's a lot of charities there to help you. Please ask for help. If there is anything that is concerning you about money or your mental health, don't be embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. Just put your hand up and ask for help. And worst comes to worst, you can always get me on Instagram, and I am always there. I feel really strongly that nobody should not ask questions just because they think that they're the only ones, because you're not. So thank you very much for having me. I hope that was useful. Jamie, I can see there's a bunch of questions. Did you want us to?
Yeah, that's incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. One of the questions that has come in, you mentioned during your presentation about cost of living and just the differences in cost of living between various cities. And I think it's a big consideration for students as they're thinking about where they might want to study, is to remember that even though the tuition and fees might look similar from the universities, that the overall expenditure and cost of living is going to vary significantly. What are some ways that students can get information about estimating that cost of living and understanding the differences between London and, other smaller, more suburban settings?
Yeah, absolutely. And the difference can be huge, especially with rent and food. The difference can be huge. So most universities will now have the cost of living at their university on their website. The other thing to account for is what course you're doing. So I only recently discovered that fashion students have to pay for all of their own material to produce their end of year line. And I've seen some amazing clothes, by the way, but that can be thousands of pounds. So you want to check the university and have a look at them. UCAS, of course, has some good sites. THE has some great information. Have a look at the city, the kind of university, and the kind of course, because like Jamie said, most tuition fees at the moment are roughly the same no matter what you're studying, but the cost of living can be hugely different. And also some people want steak every night for dinner and other people want salads every night for dinner, and that's going to make a huge difference. Learn to cook. It'll make a huge difference to your life. Learn to cook. On the Black Bullion website, there's the 4 recipes that you need. They're the only ones you need, but there are easy ways of making your money stretch further.
Excellent, thank you. There's also some questions. You mentioned obviously scholarships and bursaries are huge for students to look for, and that they should look for all sources of funding. Can you just give any really general advice about like where students can be sort of searching for these opportunities? Obviously, so many of the scholarships that are available to students are really specific to where the student is coming from, what they're studying, what their qualifications are, where they're going to study, all of those things. But do you know of any resources that might help them identify just even how to find the awards that they might be eligible for?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Black Bullion website has a funding hub where there's a lot of those. The Scholarship Hub also has a lot of the scholarships and bursaries. A lot of the universities will have a lot of scholarships scattered throughout their website, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But it is absolutely worth spending like a Saturday going through it, because there are thousands of pounds. We've seen scholarships that are like 10 and 12,000 pounds a year, like big money. It's worth it. Spend a couple of days and do a bit of a search. Check the university, have a look on our site, have a look on the Scholarship Hub site, and apply for everything that you think might be relevant, because you just never know how much cash you can get in your pocket.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mentioned in one of the sessions we did yesterday that we were conducting some informal polling over our Instagram this week just around various funding related topics. And an overwhelming majority of students just said, I find it difficult to find the information about what funding is available for students, that just searching for the information can be challenging. And we've been trying really to sort of hammer home the idea that researching funding opportunities should very much be part of your search for the right university, that sort of all of the research you're doing about courses and about student life and all of those things, one of those columns needs to be keeping track of all of the funding opportunities and scholarships that might be available.
I could not agree more. One of the things we're trying to do at Black Bullion is bring everything into a single place, but also have a single application form, because the challenge at the moment is that everybody is asking for slightly different information, and that also makes it difficult. But it can really be worth it. Like, it is time well spent, even if it does take a weekend. At the end of the day, for 10 grand, it's worth it for a couple of days.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. There's a question here that we didn't cover that I think is worth mentioning about, is it worth taking insurance for theft or disasters, especially things like, rental insurance and contents coverage and stuff like that. I mean, what's your advice around that kind of stuff as an expenditure?
Yeah, so the average student has £2,000 worth of kit between their laptop and their mobile and their bikes, 2 grand worth of kit. You should absolutely take out insurance, absolutely for it. There are a lot of student-centric insurance companies that will offer you specific insurance specifically for student stuff. But I would say it's well worth the money. If your bike gets stolen or you drop your laptop, it could be £1,000. So paying in, a little bit for insurance, I would say it is a worthwhile. You hope it's a waste of money, but if it's not a waste of money, then it'll pay for itself in spades.
Yeah, absolutely. Those unexpected sort of catastrophe kinds of things can really be a disaster to your hardworking at budgeting and saving and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a question around getting part-time jobs for international students, and obviously the rules around international students working, in the UK are different than students who are going to school in the US, different than students who are going to school in Canada. It also, in some cases, depends on where you're from and what type of student visa you're on. So I can certainly comment from our perspective at THE that, you just need to be really aware of what the policies are around your own student visa and the qualifications on that visa in terms of how much you can work, how many hours, what types of job you can have, because it will vary depending on where you're studying and where you're from and what type of visa you're on and all of those things. I think, Vivi, just the last thing for you here is just to once again give your contact information, where students can find you, where they can find the Black Bullion content. And we will, of course, share this information as well through THE with students who have attended and registered for today's session. But if you want to just plug those resources again, that would be great.
Sure. So you can find us at blackbullion.com, and it's very easy to find us on Instagram. We do a lot of live sessions on all sorts of different things. So follow us on Instagram, and from there you can go anywhere. We are going to make the platform available to everybody that's here. So do feel free to jump in and register and have a look and a poke around through whatever's helpful. But I hope you all get budgeting. I know it sounds like a really boring thing, but if you can get it sorted, life gets so much easier. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We talked a little bit, we had a student session, a student panel earlier, and we talked a little bit just about the connection between, being aware of financial well-being and the impact that plays on sort of your overall well-being and your overall experience at university. And I think, as you said, it maybe isn't the most exciting topic, but ultimately it's going to make your experience at university so much easier and take a lot of stress off of just, making sure that you've planned for all of the expenses and things like that, and that you're able to just really enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. Financial health is the one health that we don't talk about enough. We always talk about mental health, which is really important, but a lot of your mental health is driven by your financial health. And if you have your money sorted and you feel like it's under control, you'll sleep better, you'll study better. The number one reason for dropout is money. And money is deeply sexy when you have it and deeply troubling when you don't. So I know I'm a real nerd about it, but there's nothing quite like that good night's sleep that comes from knowing that you can pay all of your bills and you can focus on your studies, you can focus on having an amazing university experience, which is what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Vivi, thank you so much for being here. Thanks to the student audience for tuning in. We hope this has been helpful and has just given you a better sense of awareness about budgeting and understanding, how to be really planned and careful about your expenses, and really think carefully about where your money is going, because it's just such an important thing to be mindful of, particularly as a student. But it's been incredibly valuable for me even to listen in. So many thanks, Vivi, and to the students who are here, we hope you'll join us. Tomorrow we've got 2 more live sessions for Funding Week: Funding Your Degree in Canada and Funding Your Degree in the US. So if you're interested in either of those as study destinations, please join us tomorrow. And of course, visit timeshighereducation.com/student, where we've got tons of resources all about funding, especially front and center this week as we go through Funding Week. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time.